Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike, particularly Star Trek Discovery. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Hero Collector Eaglemoss Star Trek Discovery Starships Collection edition of the Klingon Sarcophagus Ship as it appeared in Star Trek Discovery. You'll notice I haven't turned on the rotating base purely because this is a very large ship, and to try and rotate it in the this station will not work. So when it comes to some exploration of the ship, I'm going to manually manipulate it with my hands here, as you can see, and then I'll get it up into hand so we can do a nice up close and personal exploration of what I believe to be one of the most detailed and intricately put together of these Eaglemoss Star Trek models. It's really very good. It's really very good. Let me just sort of bring it into there for you for now, and then we can sort of take it up and down the scale. Now this is of course one of the Eaglemoss collection. Eaglemoss, as we know, endured some difficulty latterly. Its products are now coming back. They're easing their way back onto the UK market, certainly, as products are beginning to arrive back in the country, as stock is being delivered to online retailers, etc. So if you are looking to pick up some Eaglemoss collectibles, it's worth keeping an eye on the secondary markets, auction sites, etc. Do be mindful, of course, as I will always warn you, of those who try to scalp, and that is accelerate the prices for some of these way ahead of what might be necessary. I'm going to tell you something that is you know, a bit disappointing for me. I don't know whether these came in damaged, but I'm not completely convinced that the neck and if you like bridge section of this ship, which is here, is as solid and as accurate and as correct as I think they should be. Mine feels like it's somehow got bent in transit, which is disappointing, particularly for something of this size and magnitude. But that said, depending how you display it, as you can sort of hopefully see here, you can't quite tell that. Anyway, let's get this ship in hand, because that's what you really want to say. It comes with the traditional display base here, and again it just fits very neatly around the underside. I have to say it does hold it particularly securely, but let's just start with this front section. I'm hoping you can see this the way I want you to. It just feels a little bit like this plastic section, which is designed to look sort of organic and crystalline, is slightly bent to one side, and for me that's a bit of a it sort of stands out quite a bit to me. I'm quite sure it would, in the right position, we wouldn't see it. I'm just kind of very aware of it, so that's an issue for me. But if we ignore that for a second and come into the detailing of that bridge unit, and think about some of the classic sort of Klingon battlecruiser designs, where you have that long neck with that bridge at the front, and then the side wings with the nacelles. This ship does mirror that in its design to an extent, but it is by the same token superior in its uniqueness. And I love, and I'm going to get to it in a second, but I do, for all that this piece really irks me because it's at a bend, I think the detailing that surrounds it across that bridge, look at that on there. That is really good. And we come into the main fuselage section here. Look at the detailing here. This is very impressive. We see this here. It's a motif that is across a lot of the Klingon ships as they appeared in Star Trek Discovery, and it speaks to the design ethic. The design aesthetic of the series, which I think is absolutely great. We've also got inside there, you can't really see, and I'm not too sure if I've got a way of helping you to see. Let's see if I can take it back a bit. Maybe if I lift this a little more in there. There are some engine elements within those nacelles. I'll see if I can get a shot of those for the end of the video. Maybe that might be the easiest way to show them off. I'm afraid, apologies for that. But again, you can see the level of sculpt and detailing across this fuselage. Look how great that is and how well it comes across. It's really so very detailed. The mechanics of that, the detailing, it's in a lovely sort of gunmetal grey. And then we have this crystalline substance, this sort of organic crystalline substance that sort of bonds the aspects of the ship together. You can really see that in this sort of dorsal view here, how that crystalline is pulled out in this model with those connecting elements there that pull the two nacelles together. I think it just looks absolutely incredible. It does give a very crystalline feel. You can see that almost tampograph on top of the crystalline, which of course is blue transparent translucent plastic, if we're honest, but I just think it looks really great in the context of this ship and how it follows through along the length of that body there. And you can see how it's embedded in the nacelles, in the primary hull. It's almost like, if I was to turn it this way, indulge me slightly, it's almost like you're looking at lungs, you know, like a cardiovascular system, which is kind of ironic considering this is the ship of the dead for the Klingons. It's the Sarcophagus Ship, which is kind of at the root of quite a bit of the troubles in that very first season of Discovery, but I won't spoil that here. So let's look at some of that detailing along the top of those nacelles. Coming right to the rear, we have these wonderful prongs that sort of stick out there. For those worried about them, they are not particularly sharp. They're actually quite, dare I say, fragile, but they are a bit fragile. Be very careful of those. We've got these pointy elements here. We've also got these pointy elements here. So yeah, you want to be careful with these, A, because they're pointy, but also because they are sort of key points that could break. And again, as we know, while some of these Eaglemoss models are making their way into the marketplace, they are few and far between. And exactly what the future of these models, whether they're going to be re-released, reissued by the new owners, etc., could mean that if you do get your hands on some existing stock, they really are going to be limited to what exists. There is likely to be, well, I can't say likely, but there is every possibility that they could be a one and done restock and sell as the stock arrives. So let's try and take a look at the side of these nacelles here. You can see the detailing, very, very good. Still with that organic sense in the core of the nacelle. So whereas with the Federation ships you'd see that sort of warp strip, along the Bussard collector here you can see that crystalline entity and some more of that wonderful, and it really gives it a sense of authentic and dated sort of future history. This feels like a very old, it's seen a lot of action, it's been in space a long time, and that sort of sensation is duplicated on this side. So not to overly bore you with much of the same, but there it is. And of course here's the underside, most of which you saw a little earlier, but you can see there the designs, and the design aesthetic flows through and across this ship really, really well. So you can see how that works. It's really a shame I can't get you inside those nacelles, but I'm not sure that I can, even with the light, because of the shadow it casts. You can see them a little bit. You can see them a little bit. Yeah, there you go. That's probably about it, to be honest. I couldn't do much better with a photo. There is just that sense of sort of an intake element to it there. But I think what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful model. It's relatively lightweight, considering what it looks like. So I was actually quite surprised when I opened the box and found there was this much of it. Because it feels like it should be an awful lot smaller. But it is, as you can see. So if I put it in my hand to give you a sense of scale, it's significantly larger than my hand. So, you know, and I do have quite large hands, you'll be pleased to know, or not. So anyway, this is the Sarcophagus Ship. I don't know if I can put it back in quite as smoothly as I took it out. Oh, there you go. That's another thing that I really like, is it just sort of sits in, and its center of gravity is really well positioned. So unlike some of the Eaglemoss ships, this really feels like once it's in its case, on its stand, it's there to stay, because it's dispersed. The weight of it is really equally dispersed, and I don't have that concern or that worry. It does, of course, I'll just push it back slightly so that I can bring the magazine into shot. It does, of course, come with its magazine. There you can see it in action. The Sarcophagus Ship, operational in the 23rd century. Again, as with all these magazines, there's some wonderful, beautiful, detailed artwork inside. Some nice, apologies for knocking the camera, some nice explanation and exploration into the history of the ship. So, you know, again, always added value with the Eaglemoss ships. And I really like it. I mean, I know it's probably been a bit obvious from how I've sort of walked you through it. Does it warrant a place on your shelf if you don't already have it? Well, I would say yes. But it is one of those, it will look strange on its own. You probably would want to have a couple of other Discovery ships, particularly if they're from the Klingon fleet, just to give it that sense of belonging and to tie your display together. But otherwise, I think it's a really great display piece. And if you do think that this is something you could be interested in, as I say, do check out some of those secondary markets and online retailers. You might well be in luck. Also, you might want to look at some conventions as we go into the new year here in 2023. You might find some conventions that have got some stores where people have some existing stock or have acquired some and are looking to move it. And depending on what is high in stock and what is low, the prices may be up for some negotiation, so never be afraid to ask, especially if you're buying a couple of pieces. You might get somewhere with that. Certainly always worth a try. I always have a go, even if I'm not always successful. Just a tip, but feel free to ignore it completely. Hopefully this video has given you a sense of whether or not the Sarcophagus Ship does have a place in your collection, and if that is the case, write whether it is a yes or a no about it belonging. Then do please smash that like button, and whilst you're fiddling about with those controls, why not also accidentally touch that subscribe button, because that way you'll never miss a future video, which could be more Eaglemoss ships, it could be Doctor Who stuff, it could be Transformers stuff, it could be G.I. Joe stuff, Battlestar Galactica stuff. You know, it could be anything, really. Could be absolutely anything. Who knows what could be appearing on this channel. And whilst you're here, have a little nosy about. Check out some of the other playlists. There may be something there that catches your attention as well. Thank you very much for spending the last 14 or so minutes with me. I have been the time-travelling toy collector. You have been a wonderful watcher and listener. And this has been the Hero Collector Eaglemoss Sarcophagus Ship from the Star Trek Discovery Starships Collection range. It just remains for me to say that I hope to see you in a future video, and to remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.